It was a moonless night near Salem, Oregon. Two teenagers, Sarah and Marcus, were cutting through the graveyard behind St. Mary's Church. Their shortcut home, they thought, would save time and maybe even give them a thrill on a creepy dark night. The gravestones leaned under damp moss, and shadows stretched long. And somewhere, a raven croaked. They had passed the old crypts, the angels carved so weather-worn that their wings looked rotten. Sarah huddled up, shivering. Marcus said he saw something move. At first, he thought it was a stray dog, maybe. Then it stepped into the moonlight. Enormous, coal black fur that rippled like smoke, and eyes burning like twin embers of hellfire. They froze. The beast's mouth parted. White, razor-sharp fangs gleamed, and from its throat came a low growl that shook the air. Black smoke belched from its maw. Its eyes glowed, fiery, alive with malice. Or maybe it was purpose. Sarah gasped. Marcus wanted to run, but their feet felt rooted to the ground. The church grim loomed between them and the path out of the graveyard. Welcome to Ghostly Activities. I'm your guide, Jacob Rice, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about church grims, which are kind of cousins to phantom dogs. So there's something creepy about an empty churchyard at night, or graveyard as you could call it. The wind becomes still, barely rustling the leaves, and the moon slips behind the clouds to dimly light the star-filled night. And the shape moves between the headstones, low and steady, crouching. Most people would shrug it off as a stray dog, but old stories say it's something else. A phantom guardian called the church grim. So the church grim isn't your average ghost story nor your average protector. Tales of spectral animals go way back to ancient British and Scandinavian lore. We're talking like 1300 CE or AD, however you want to slap the linear timeline on it. And when new churches were built, some villages believed the first soul buried there would protect the graveyard forever. And to spare human souls, they sacrificed animals instead. And most often, that would be a dog, sometimes a ram, and in a few cases, a horse. And that poor pooch was buried alive under the church's cornerstone in its foundation. And the now restless spirit was bound to the ground, charged with guarding the dead from grave robbers, witches, or worse. And out of that grim tradition came the phantom hound pacing graveyards all night. So with the church grim, it has a few different roles, and some of them include the protector, and it patrols the graveyard, warding off intruders with its fiery eyes and deep, terrifying growl, kind of like with our intro story. But nothing really malicious happens, it just scares the bejesus out of you. And then there's the omen, and that's if you see the grim at night, especially near the bell tower. It may mean death is close, so we're thinking like a banshee here. And some stories say that's only the destined to die that can see it. I don't know about this one. This sounds just, too banshee-like for me. And The next common role is as a guide, and that deals with Scandinavian lore, where the Grimm help souls find their way out to the afterlife. So, lead me to the light, except it's a big black dog with fiery eyes. Almost like a dark shepherd leading the flock. So what if folks report it? Well, modern-day witnesses describe the Grimm as a massive black dog with glowing eyes. Could be red, could be orange, could be yellow. Sometimes it's silent, and you just see it prowling along the fence line. But other times, it howls before a funeral, and perhaps that's just a warning for grave robbers. Which, Grimms might be going out of work simply because everyone's getting cremated nowadays, right? But back in rural England, we're talking the 1800s, people saw black dogs with fiery eyes slipping between headstones, and at the same time in Scandinavia, the phantom might take the form of a lamb instead, lambs as a symbol of Christ, and they bleat into the dead of night. Bleat, B-L-E-A-T, people, not B-L-E-E-D. That would be gross to see a bleating lamb. Anyway, it can be a sign that the land has a holy protector. Now, for the legend today, even though no one's burying dogs under churches anymore, or they'd better not, because I will come over and kick their ass. I love pooches. I have 7. Tales of church Grimms haven't faded away, and the stories of phantom dogs in cemeteries, which, close cousins, I got a little story for that one in a minute, maybe another version of the same legend. You see, we still see black dog stories around the world. You have the Barghest, might have pronounced that wrong, it might be Barchest, Black Shuck from the UK, and the Snarly Yow in Maryland, classic legend there. They all carry the same mix of protection, loyalty, and some pretty scary appearances. And when you think about it, dogs are symbols of protection. They're the most loyal critter humankind has ever struck up a relationship with. And then there's companionship. So you can imagine that loyalty twisted by ritual sacrifice binds it to a place where its soul can never leave. And that's why the church Grimm feels both comforting, but also frightening. And it also makes me think of spectral Cujo. I do have a little story for you, and this one goes back to no need to do the transition and the creepy stuff that I did in the intro story. But back in January 2013, I went to investigate Bachelor's Grove Cemetery for the first time. And if you're not familiar, it's a notoriously haunted cemetery southwest of Chicago. It's down by Orland Park area, Midlothian, if you know it. And me and my BFF, Celine, ghostly activities had been around for like 4 years or so now. We were like, hey, let's go check out the reports of apparitions. So we go, and while we thought we saw a hooded figure, maybe like a priest in the cemetery, the big thing was when we were leaving. And, it's January, so it's getting dark by 5 p.m. So we're leaving, and we get on this old rundown highway. Before the new county highway went through, there was it looks like an access road now, in pretty bad shape. But we were following that, leaving the cemetery. We were leaving, and we heard some footsteps behind us, but not like people footsteps. I mean, I had a dog at the time. I knew what the four steps of a dog sounded like. And I looked at Celine, and we didn't see anything. And this isn't the kind of place you'd go jogging or take your dog for a walk along. And as we got to that chain, I smelt like rotten eggs, and I heard a growl. So I just looked at Celine, and we didn't see anything. This is still daylight. And we were like, let's look this up when we get home. And it turns out Bachelor's Grove is known for a phantom dog that either looks like a Rottweiler or Doberman. Anyway, so I wouldn't say I got chased out of a cemetery by a phantom black dog or a church Grimm. But something let me know I wasn't exactly the most welcome person. Okay, So for you, what can you do if you meet a church grim? Now, not all of this stuff will apply to a phantom dog, okay? But if you do, running away probably isn't going to work. And plus, I don't know if I would call myself a ghost hunter if I were running away from every spooky thing, right? But don't challenge it. The Grim's not out to hurt you unless you disrespect the graveyard, the grounds. So don't shout, don't trespass, don't do any mocking of the dead or the church in this holy space. Next, stay calm. Like most paranormal encounters, your fear can feed the experience. So take steady, deep breaths, keep your cool, and just observe what's happening. Next, show some respect. And a simple gesture like tipping your hat, nodding in acknowledgement, or even saying a little prayer could help you out with the encounter. Next, leave an offering. So sometimes you can leave bread, milk, a coin. I would leave a milk bone. I don't know if a phantom dog or church grim who died centuries ago would realize that dogs love milk bones. I'm just saying. But anyway, leave a little offering. Know the warning. So if a grim crosses your path directly or appears near the church's bell tower, the legend says it could be a death omen. So don't ignore your gut. Pay attention to your surroundings and take care of yourself in the days that follow. If it's an omen, that could mean something bad could happen within the next week. So remember, the church grim is bound to its duty, and if you treat the graveyard with care, chances are the phantom dog / church grim will let you pass in peace. So, in my final thoughts on this whole thing, it's not really the kind of spirit you want to bump into, right? It's a big beastly dog with fiery eyes, deep growl, and a flaming maw or smoky maw. I wouldn't call them evil. It's a spirit with a job to do. Keeping watch over the dead long after its own life ended. So, the next time you pass a graveyard at night and you see a shadow moving along the fence line, think twice. That may not be a stray dog. It might be an old church grim, still on guard after all these years. So folks, if you like this podcast, I try to keep them short and snackable. If you like this podcast, please tell your friends about it, rate, review, subscribe, leave a comment. And, I hope to see you back here again in a week or two. And with that, have a lovely day and take care.